Hi. Hey everyone. Welcome. Happy Sunday. Super excited to be here to share information about energetic responsibility and how to deal with stress. They're pretty much one and the same. And when you have a strong understanding or knowledge about how to take care of your own energy, we have more wellness and balance in our lives. And so I'm getting ready to share that with you today. But before I start, and as I wait for you all to come into the room, I want to share some of the events that I have coming up that I'm really excited about. Hey, Tammy. If you've never tried, hey there, Gina. If you've never tried coming to a gallery that I have, then I want you to consider coming. I have one on Thursday, July 12th. And it is from 7 to 9 p.m. So it's an evening event coming up this summer. And it's $40 to come. 16 people get to come. And the odds of receiving a message from your loved ones are really high. I can't read for 16 people, but most people that come get a message. So I want you to consider telling maybe some of your friends or grabbing a friend or two and coming and meeting up on July the 12th. That's a Thursday in the evening for a gallery event. And it's a fairly small, intimate kind of an event. And I always save room in a gallery for answering questions of a spiritual nature. So I just think they're so much fun. They're one of my favorite events to do. And they're still fairly small enough to for most people to receive a message. I have my cards in print. They should be here in 2 weeks or less. Let's see, what do I want to say about them? The thing, I want to share them with the world, obviously. Like, it's a baby that I've created, my angelic hope, archangel, oracle guidance cards. And they are broken down into themes. And I'm going to share more of that when they arrive. I want to do an unboxing so you can all see them in the box when I'm seeing them in the box. So I'm really excited to be able to share those that are coming up soon. I have a class. There's two of them. One's down in San Juan Bautista, and that is a fundraiser event for Posada de San Juan Hotel. That's there. So June 2nd, there will be my first cards class that I'm having, that I'm going to teach about my cards, how to use them, how to receive messages for yourself, how to connect to the angels, will be that class, and it's a half-day class. And you can also buy my cards there if you want to get them in person. And then that's June 2nd, and then that evening I also have a gallery event. So if you happen to be coming for the class, just stay and get your ticket for the gallery. Tickets are available on Eventbrite. You can find the links on my Facebook pages. You can find the links also on my website, which is angelichope.com, which is also where you can sign up for the gallery. Now, if you've been to a gallery and you're in the room here, hi, Dawn. Hi, Melissa. Good morning, Amani. Hey, Dawn. I have two friends with the name of Dawn in the room, and I adore both of them. So welcome, guys. Hopefully you're going to be able to come to one of the events that I have going on. And then August 4th, because I know that San Juan Bautista might be far for some people, I'm also going to be teaching the Archangel Oracle Guidance Cards class with my cards on August 4th. And that's from 1 to 4:30. And when you sign up and get a seat for that, the cards are included with that class. So it's all inclusive with that one. So I'm excited for those events happening. And hopefully you guys have all come today to hear more about, got my notes here, like as per usual. Hopefully that you have your questions ready and you are excited to ask some questions about energetic responsibility, what that might be, and also how to handle stress in our lives. And there's different kinds of stress that we all have to handle, and then different ways that we can become responsible for it. I really feel like this information is important. And anytime I teach a class, my beginning class all the way through my advanced and certification courses is energetic responsibility. Because the more we're aware of our energy, the less we're sick. And what happens with a lot of my students is when they're staying up on their game, if you will, on staying up with their spiritual practices and emotional practices that I teach, that they start telling me that they're not sick anymore, that they don't catch colds like they used to. It's very rare for me to have a cold. I don't think I've had the flu in years and years. I do get run down a little, and I do need to slow down and recharge, and once in a while I get a little stomach bug or something. That's usually what happens to me when I'm not being super mindful of my energy. But what you'll notice is that you stop getting sick. Your wellness and your healthiness in your body magnifies, like it grows, and it's easier to keep track of. But I've identified 3 different areas or types of stress, and then I'm going to go through things that you can do in each of those areas, because life is going to happen to us, and we're going to have stress. It's part of being a human being, and so being mindful of it and taking care of yourself is crucial. So, and I just want to say hi. I think I saw Christy come in the room, and there's Corey. If you guys don't know Corey Mann, I really want you to get connected to him on Instagram. I think it's, Corey, put it down in there what your handle is. I don't think they call it a handle, but that's my old school way of saying it. Your Instagram name, I think it's, it should be Superman, but he posts the most gorgeous pictures. And you don't even have to say anything. Hi, Michelle. Hey, Susan. You don't have to say anything. He doesn't have to say anything with his pictures. That they just inspire. And so he has a great Instagram. And, of course, if you want to get connected to Corey Mann here on Facebook, that's a wonderful thing, too. All right. The 3 areas of stress. There's everyday stress. That's life, right? We have bigger stresses. And with that, I'm talking about holidays, family functions, changes with work, even like a promotion, things like that, bigger stresses. And then we have trauma. And so those 3 areas of stress, and all of us have experienced all of those kinds of stress. We've all been through, we're all experiencing it every day, our everyday stress. And then we have bigger stresses that happen in our lives. Bigger stresses can even be things like pregnancy or once in a while moving. I wouldn't categorize moving unless it happens because of some kind of devastation, a flood or earthquake, or like what's going on in Hawaii right now. People are having to evacuate or move, and they might lose their homes. That would be a trauma. But a lot of times moving from one place to another, there's a level of excitement that comes with it, but it's still stressful. So that would be a bigger stress. And then trauma, we know, can be like a death of someone that we care about or love, divorce, or actually like being fired, laid off, or losing a job, in a sense, can also be a trauma. So those are different areas. So let's talk about everyday stress first, because all of us are experiencing that day in and day out, and on different degrees or different levels. So on days off that you might have stress because you need to get grocery shopping, laundry done, the house cleaned, the dog to the vet. Like all of these things can add a layer of stress to our lives. So what do we do to handle it? And how can we be responsible for the way that we're feeling? Because don't you see those people, they're standing in line at Starbucks, or they're getting their groceries and they're screaming at their kids, or they're yelling at someone on the phone, or they're rolling their eyes at the checker in the checkout stand, or they're the frustration level that they have, like you can see and you can feel it. And we don't want to be that person. Or I'm thinking everybody that's coming in or watching my videos, you don't want to be that person that's having that moment. It's happened to me. I've done it where I've been out in public and I've not been the best version of myself. But that's what our goal is, right? Our goal is to always be the best version of ourselves. So with everyday stress, And you have spiritual practices that should be a foundation. And if you haven't taken a class yet, my beginning classes are for everyone. And that's where you can learn energetic responsibility and a spiritual practice, which we would call clearing our energy and grounding. I don't have to go through it right now, but if you've already taken a class and you know what those things are, then you know that that's your responsibility. Your feet hit the floor in the morning and you're preparing your energy for the day. You're grounding, you're clearing your energy. Affirmations that can help us get through the day and through everyday stresses. You can have an affirmation like, I'm going to have a beautiful day. And then you get up and you go about your day and you remind yourself when like little things happen. Like this morning, my shake mix that I have, I pulled it out of the refrigerator and my husband made a shake first and he didn't put the cap back on. And so it went all over the floor. And so I'm just reminding myself that I'm having a beautiful day. Like today is a beautiful day. And then you just go about cleaning it up or moving on past it, right? Affirmations can help. Affirmations can also help us get past those little confidences that we might be struggling with in our day-to-day life or with certain issues in our life but we can go forward more with confidence by choosing the right affirmation. And that's different for everyone and anyone. I'm going to say it. This is Leanne right here. This is your girl. And I'm going to say healthy eating. My friend Dawn Katzen in the chat room is going to know that I always talk about healthy eating. It's crucial to living a balanced life. If I'm off my schedule and my diet and I'm on vacation, I can get away with a little more not being completely balanced because I'm not having to handle all the different things in my day that I need to handle. But on a regular basis, eating well and staying hydrated is crucial to feeling balanced. You'll notice, like if you eat a bunch of junk food or say you have a lot of chocolate all at once, you're going to feel the effects of that on your body, which then affects your attitude. And so that's important to remember. Yeah, Dawn's writing, two dudes got in a tiff at Kaiser because one was agitated on the phone. And you know what? That we see that all the time. And when we're being energetically responsible, that stuff, Dawn, doesn't affect us as much as it might, or we can notice it in other people. We don't always notice the agitation levels in ourselves all the time, but we certainly can notice it in other people, and it can be a wake-up call for us to notice it within ourselves, or what's going on with ourself, with our agitation level. And having your spiritual practice in the morning, clearing and grounding, having an affirmation, and eating well all lead towards feeling more balanced. And you know what the thing is that we want to do? Like, who's with me on this one? As soon as I'm really stressed, or it's been a rough day, or like things like little things like dropping the shake mix, or traffic, or somebody's late to something and it throws the schedule off, or just whatever it is, that we're less likely to want to eat well. Like we want to reach for like the sweets or things like that, like the chips or stuff when we're feeling that way. But if we can remind ourselves and set ourselves up for success with healthy snacks, you're going to manage through all of those stress things a lot better. Now, if you're going to a workplace, then I'm going to suggest also having snacks laid out for you that you know are great. So some people, nuts are a really good thing to have in those moments of stress instead of reaching for like a candy bar or something like that. So I'm going to have to talk about eating, you guys. You know it's crucial. And that I was going to mention it because I'm like the queen of like wanting for everyone to eat right or eat better. What you can also do is make a mental note anytime something bothers you to think of love or send love to that situation or other people. So like Dawn Smith was saying here in the chat room, like she saw two people fighting at Kaiser or getting in a tiff. I don't know if it was necessarily a fight, but I've been in Walmart at Christmas time and seeing fist fights happen. Send love to those people. Encompass them with God's love. See the light of God come all around them. And that helps diffuse the situation, not only for yourself, but for others. Or if, say, someone gets your coffee wrong, or little agitations like that in your everyday stress, or a work stress, or a meeting that doesn't go well, send love to the situation. Even if the people, say in the meeting, or who got your coffee, whatever it is, maybe they don't deserve love, send it anyway. Just trust me, do it anyway. Exercise. I was going to talk about eating and normal. What you can do to minimize your stress level, one of the very absolute best things that you can do is get some movement going in your body. This doesn't mean that you need to go run 3 miles or jog it or whatever. Take a stroll, take a walk, get outside. Getting out in nature and exercising together are often huge ways of reducing stress. And these are all very practical. I'm not talking about taking an hour to work out every day. Take your 10-minute break. Take part of your lunch hour and get outside and take a walk. Get to the gym on a regular basis. If you're having a lot of stress in your life and there's changes going on at work, and we're talking about maybe moving into some bigger stresses, and that with bigger stresses, having some kind of an exercise routine is crucial. Now, people will say, I don't have time, and I understand that. But what ends up being important is making the time. If you've got time to watch the news in the morning, or you've got time to watch your favorite TV show, you can figure out how to get 15, 20 minutes in your day of moving your body. And oftentimes we can do it right there in our living room while we're watching our favorite TV show or the news. So really having that as an excuse, and with YouTube available and walking videos and walking at home, walking in place, we can really push aside the excuses that we give ourselves all the time. And what you do is gift yourself balance and well-being. I'm not a proponent for being hard on your body. I'm not for I don't feel most people need to go and pound their body and do HIIT workouts all the time or running on the treadmill. If that's your thing, awesome. Don't stop doing it. But don't put yourself down, or don't not try because you don't want, it's hard on your body, or you don't want that feeling. Find another way. Like Dawn Katzen's talking about the exercise bike in front of the TV. That's awesome. And you know what? You can get like some exercise equipment like that that's really cheap. You can find it, say, on eBay or other places. On Facebook even has that thing that you can click on now where people in your area are selling things. And they have that app now that's like a neighborhood something. You all probably know more about this than me. But there's this app where there's stuff in our neighborhood, and if somebody wants something or somebody has something that they're wanting to get rid of, they can put it up on there too. And you can often get these things for very cheap. And it's crucial to find that balance in our everyday lives. I'm checking my notes. When you're just having everyday stress kinds of things, this is a perfect time to get a reading. You're in the right frame of mind. Your thinking is more balanced and clear. So the messages that can come through for you, are you taking them on and being ready to make changes in your life? It's a perfect time to get a reading when it's just like everyday stress kind of stuff, or to come to a gallery, or say even a class. It's a great time to do that, to get a reading. So think about timing for your readings too if you're getting them. You don't want to be under trauma to get a reading. And I'll talk a little bit more about that. Also, when we deal with our stress, you're going to find that your boundaries and being able to say no or to yes to certain things goes better for you. Boundaries stay clearer, and then you have more your energy is even more relaxed and welcoming. So when it's that way, what you do, and I'm going to do a law of attraction basics kind of video so that it helps people to understand it. But what happens too is that you gravitate like a magnet to you, those things that you want or need. And people can end up getting shocked, like, I was wanting that. I can't believe somebody offered it to me or gave it to me for very little or for free, or I found a great deal, or this opportunity opened up for me. But when we are more balanced and wellness in our lives, we have more opportunity that comes to us. Okay, bigger stresses. This is things like when things are happening with changes to the family, such as pregnancy or empty nest. For some people, when their kids are moving out, it creates a lot of bigger stress for them. And if you've had a change of family, pregnancy, moving in and out, or even yourself, like say when you moved out to go to college, or you moved out to get your own apartment. Like, just let us know how that felt. It's a little bit bigger stress. How many of you get stressed over the holidays? There's extra things in your schedule. This isn't normal everyday stress for some people around the holiday, and having to deal maybe with family or things like that, or travel more. And everybody's wanting to travel, so there's stress there. With these are bigger stressors. A minor health issue can become a stressor, like having to deal with some kind of a chronic issue, maybe some back pain, but it's not life-threatening. These things are bigger stresses, and they can throw us off. And these things also require us to be more mindful of our energy. Having a spiritual practice is important here. And at this point in time, I'm also going to recommend meditation, because with bigger stresses, the more you can learn to quiet your mind, the more you're going to feel balanced. But what happens with people is that all of that goes out the window. They're feeling so bundled up and pulled together and tight that they don't want to sit down and feel their feelings. What happens with a lot of people with bigger stresses is they reach for substances sometimes, drinking a little more than they might normally do, eating a little more than they might normally do. They might even gravitate towards going on some medication or some things like that bring them down. You can't run from your feelings. And so with some of the things I'm going to suggest with bigger stresses and with traumas is that it's going to cause you to feel your feelings. But this is the best way to get through it. This is the best way to move past the struggle that you're having and into wellness. And it's not easy at first. You're not going to feel amazing when you're feeling your feelings at first. Like it can be a struggle. We cannot want to feel our feelings. But trust me, if you feel your feelings and you do some of these things that I suggested, such as all of the things in the everyday stress, like eating well, exercise, clearing your energy, grounding your energy, all of these things, and you doing them with bigger stresses is important too. But I'm going to suggest with bigger stresses going on in your life that you cut out all social media, that you just step away from it for a while, or have a lot less, only allowing yourself 5 or 10 minutes a day to be on Instagram or Facebook, or just letting go of them for a couple of days, like getting off social media, getting off watching the news, anything like that. When you're having bigger stresses go on in your life, like what I described are bigger stresses, and then getting detoxed off of social media will be very supportive. And oftentimes what people find with their schedule is if they're not on social media, they're having more time to read that book they've been wanting to read, or maybe there's a class or learning that they've wanted to do. It's the great opportunity to step in to do some learning with bigger stresses in our lives. Especially if there's changes going on at your work that may require you to take a class and up your game or your skills or your knowledge. It's a perfect time with bigger stresses to do that. Reading motivational or inspirational things. I go on YouTube and I'll watch things about the law of attraction with Abraham Hicks, or stuff with Dr. Wayne Dyer, to get my energy up higher so that I'm handling these things appropriately. So I'm not reaching for more chocolate or more caffeine or more alcohol here in my diet. It's a great time to pull cards for yourself. Gonna mention my Angel Oracle Cards Coming Up class that I have both in June 2nd and August 4th as a great way to help you stay within balance. But many of you might already have cards. This is, I suggest for most people that pulling cards now and then for yourselves. You don't have to be under stress, obviously, to do that. But this is a great time to pull back, let television go, let social media go, all of that stuff go, and go back in and reconnect to your angels through meditation and pulling your cards. And I already mentioned about eating well. What you want to do is also put in those affirmations here again for yourself that help you stay positive, and keep them simple. Like, I remind myself when I'm feeling bigger stresses or things that are going on that I'm a loving person, because my husband's going to get the brunt of me not feeling or thinking or being so loving. And I want to remind myself, because I don't want the people that I care about most in my life, my friends, my husband, my son, I don't want them to catch the brunt of my bigger stress that's going on. And trust me, working through all of this stuff to get these cards to print created some bigger stress. Whatever's going on with you, you want to make sure that you deal with it and feel your feelings. If you start noticing that you're numbing your feelings out in any way, you want to stop and you want to take stock of that. And it may be a very good time to get a reading. Sometimes this is the best time because it helps you to reconnect to your soul, reconnect to your loved ones in spirit, or reconnect to the angels and regroup. It helps to give you perspective to get a reading here at this time. Now I'm going to talk about trauma, and trauma is different. Trauma is a time in our life where we're going to be required to slow down and go within, but it's also a very important time in your life to be with people that truly love you and want to help you get through whatever it is that you're going through. This is a time in your life when you've gone through a trauma to call upon friends and family members that want to rally around you and lift you up. Don't isolate yourself because of a trauma. Now, you may need a day or two or moments or times in your schedule where you just go within to meditate. This is a great time to journal. It's hard to eat well when you've gone through a trauma. People do one of two things. They way overeat or they stop eating. The hunger sensations in our body subside with extreme trauma. So this could be, the death of a spouse or a child, or even a parent or a sibling, the loss of a close friend, or, the death of that, a divorce, a traumatic move. You lost your home because it caught on fire, or, it was lost in a flood or some things like that. You're going to need the support of others. Don't try to white knuckle it through all on your own. It's a perfect time to get out in nature when you've gone through a trauma. It's a great time to go with friends or alone. Take a hike, go walk on the beach. If you can only walk around your neighborhood or things like that, getting outside is a great thing to do. If you've got pets, this is a great time to spend a lot of time with your pets. Pets help raise our energy and our vibration. Some people, when they go through a trauma, it's a perfect time to get a pet. You have to know yourself and what's going on in your life, because you need to dedicate energy to a pet, and they need health care and all of those things as well. But it's a great time, if you've been wanting a pet, to get one and to focus some energy on something else. This is also a good time when going through a trauma, if you can help or reach out to other people, and being with other people that aren't going to be judging you or expecting for you to solve their problems. You don't want to be in the position when you go through a trauma of solving anyone else's problems. You want to be able to go within and focus. So journaling, meditation, exercise routine that's gentle, like yoga, walking, swimming, things like that. Anything out in nature, and nothing that's too hard, and making sure you don't isolate yourself. It's a great time probably to see like a counselor or some other doctor. Don't beat yourself up if there's some meds that you want to temporarily be on. That's something that you should negotiate with your own doctor, but this is not a good time to get a reading. You don't want to get a reading if your headspace has been through a trauma. You want to give yourself several months to heal or go through the process of healing, instead of trying to rush in to get answers, or because there's a desperation that comes with it that you might not be ready to hear, and actions that you might not be ready to take because of what you went through. It is a good time to go within. It would be a great time to then get your angel cards out or things like that, as long as your headspace isn't desperate for it or desperate for someone else to give you all the answers. So I always tell people, if they've gone through like a serious or traumatic loss of some kind, especially the death of a loved one, to not book a reading or get a reading booked out. because you want to handle or manage your stress and feel your feels and go through the process within grieving. Because even if it's not the death of a loved one that you've experienced, we can grieve the loss of another kind of relationship, a divorce. We go through a grieving process, the loss of a job. We can go through a grieving process. And high levels of stress, when you're at home, you want to check in with yourself, Vanessa, on what's causing those stress. Is it people in the home that are causing the stress? Is it the environment itself that's causing the stress? You want to take a look at what it is and properly dealing with whatever the individual reasons are, and then putting together a plan of action to change it. Because if it's a high level of stress, we might be talking about everyday stress or bigger stress, but maybe not trauma. So you want to take a look at what you can do proactively if it's everyday stress or bigger stress. And you might need help. You might need to reach for help, whether it's friends or family members or things like that. It's if there's energy in your home, like if you're talking about hauntings, and I'm going to suggest you watch my video on frankincense and myrrh and clearing the energy of your home. And then everybody that lives in the home probably needs a clearing with that as well. If there's energy in the home that feels negative or bad, I also, it's people that live there that can also inadvertently or unknowingly add to it, right? So you want to make sure, what is it that we're watching on TV? Are there teenagers in the home? If the first thing that I tell people before I come out to someone's home, if they feel like they have a haunting or something like that, is that for 2 weeks they have to bring only positivity into their home. There's no fighting in the home. People can disagree. It's not the same thing as fighting. Fighting is aggressive and angry. Disagreements are healthy and good for us. They have to only watch positive, uplifting things, only listen to positive, uplifting music. There's a whole list of things that people can do to change the energy of the home, because we often don't realize that we're inadvertently contributing to that. All right, what other questions do you guys have? I think I might have missed some, so you might have to put them in there again. Thank you so much for the confirmation. I was wondering why I had put on weight, and I was okay. Stress often does put weight on us. What people don't realize energetically is that we can put weight on, and we haven't changed our diet or our exercise routine. But because of stress, there are chemicals in the body, cortisol and other things that contribute to that. But if we're mindful of our energy and we get out in nature and we do these little things, you'll find that the weight comes off very easily, or we won't put on the weight so much with that. Any other questions that you guys have about dealing with stress and how to handle it? A lot of this stuff you guys probably know about to do, but you're not remembering it. But the thing is you need to be responsible for your life, and we want to take a look at our life and how we can flourish. And sometimes it's not easy to get from having that sense of maybe victimhood or going through a difficult time into then it being a pitfall for us. We can do things that shift that. It won't change the trauma that you've had. It won't change the stress that's going on in your life, but the way you feel about it and the way you move through the stress can change. All right, Manny asks, how can you help someone who might have some repressed guilt or trauma? It's not really our job to help someone that way. We have to be living examples first and foremost, and having healthy practices. And when we begin to thrive more, we are a living example for other people to do it. So people will ask you, and then you might share something, a change in your diet or eating better, or you might share that you have the spiritual practice now, or things like that to help someone. So you want to share where it's appropriate, and like the things that you're doing to help yourself stay balanced. One of the things that I often help people through that are going through bigger stresses is where in their life can they give back to someone else. And you know what? We can do this every day. We don't have to be going through a big stressor. We can be having a fabulous day, and you can help someone else have a fabulous day. Let someone go in line before you at the grocery store because they only have 2 or 3 things. and you know that you have a lot more, and it's a kindness you can show to someone. There's those people at Starbucks that pay it forward. I have been the beneficiary of someone paying for my coffee in the car in front of me. Amazing, like how that just lifts your day up. A little thing like that. You can just tell someone that's wherever you're at, somebody at work, somebody walking down the street, you're a friend, like, you look great today. I love what you're wearing. Where did you get those shoes? I love those earrings. Like, you look so tell somebody a kindness or a niceness thing. It ups your vibration and it shifts your energy just like that. If a hug is appropriate to give to someone because you haven't seen them in a while, give someone a hug. Tell them that their perfume smells good if it does to you. Tell them that, if people, don't you love this when I've heard somebody else do this recently, and it just shifted my energy up a notch, and I didn't even do anything. I was watching. But this older woman told this younger woman who was with her children how wonderfully behaved her children were, and that, what a great mom she must be, and was telling her these things and didn't even know her. Like, it was such a beautiful thing for me to see and watch, and such a kindness that didn't require any money or any time out of this woman's day to share that kindness with her. So look for kindnesses. Even if you've been through a trauma, if you can do something nice for someone else, even a little thing. Let someone get a parking space before you. How many times do we do that? Not very often, but if somebody did it for you, wouldn't you be like, what? This is an awesome day. Like, you'd just be like so thrilled that somebody did a nice thing like that for you. Bring an extra little a healthy snack for a neighbor, somebody sitting in the cubicle next to you at work. Doing a niceness will relieve stress for someone else. Sometimes we can't necessarily do it for ourselves, but if we do it for other people, showing up at work with, a bunch of donuts might really uplift everyone, right? I'm not advocating the eating of donuts, but once in a while, if it's going to lift people's energy, then why not? Okay, that's how we can help people. We want to be living examples. It is stressful having my mother-in-law in my home physically because she isn't there mentally. It's, when you're going through that is going through a big stressor, which often leads into a trauma. So we can start feeling the trauma of things, Susan, even before someone's actual passing. And it's okay to let things be a challenge. And let other people know you need them. Your children, friends, maybe you just need a moment to meditate or sit in your car for 10 minutes to do it, and you just need someone to come by or to be with her. It's hard to ask other people because we don't want to inconvenience others, but once in a while it's necessary. Yeah, she lives with you and doesn't even know her own son. And that's extremely difficult stress to deal with, but put it in perspective that she's still inside there, the loving soul that she always was. She's still a member of your family. And even though she doesn't remember all of those things, and on a day-to-day basis, it's hard on all of you, you can remember, you can hold on to the idea that even though she can't, you guys can. You can remember. And that you're going into each day with the understanding that this is like a downhill slide for you. And with that situation. And Susan, what we're all going to do here is send you love. Oh, I love that. Dawn Smith says she brings flowers and herbs from her garden for people. You've done that for me before too, Dawn, and it's awesome. It isn't, it just takes a moment of your time too, and it's a beautiful thing to do, and it seems so simple, right? But it's a big deal. What if my spouse is negative and is bringing it into our home? Oftentimes that can be the case. Here's what you do. You release and you surrender, Vanessa, your husband, over to God and the angels. You surround him in love all the time. Look past his negativity. And when he's being negative, this isn't an easy thing to do. So I'm not telling you, that this is going to just be butterflies, rainbows and unicorns. It's going to take a long time to shift. What happens is that people tend very slowly over time that are very negative to start to see things a little different because we're not allowing the negativity to stay in or to hang around. So if he comes home and he complains about the food that you're serving, or the traffic that was around, or all the stuff on TV and the politics and da-da-da-da-da, just disengage or disconnect from that. Bring something else up to talk about. Don't encourage the negativity. What I often do when I'm talking on the phone to a family member and they seem very negative is, it sounds like you're really upset about that, or it sounds like that's really bothering you. And what's interesting, negative people will often say like, no, it's not really a big deal. And then you just then let it go. But you're without calling them out, God, you're so negative. Why are you always like that? That you're shifting the energy of it to something more positive, and you're letting it correct itself over time. Don't correct a negative person. My husband sometimes will be negative about something, and he wants to be, and I'll just remind him, because he's very consciously working on his energetic responsibility to be more positive around things. And let me tell you, he is so much more positive around things now. But he'll like, if I'm doing that, just call me out. Just tell me that I'm doing that. And it's awesome that he wants that, but it's important to not pick at. Do yourself, uplift yourself. If he's being negative and it's bringing you down, then go do something that's lifting you up. Find somebody on Facebook and private message them about how you love seeing their posts and how they're positive. Pull some angel cards for yourself. Do a little treat for yourself. Get something on your schedule, Vanessa, that gets maybe you want to get a manicure or a pedicure, or do your own. A little thing like that can make all the difference. And remind yourself, or have the affirmation that I am a loving, beautiful human being. And so as you interact with him, even if he doesn't like it or he continues to be negative, you're learning to shift the energy of that, which is really hard. It's not an easy thing to do, but the more conscious you are of it and aware of it, the easier it becomes and the more you'll be good at it. My husband is neither negative or positive, very unmotivated. It's the same thing. You can't motivate someone else. All you can do is being a living example and live your best life. And if they don't want to come along for the ride, that's okay, because you're doing the best and doing things and bringing things into your life. What you don't want to do is look at changing them. That's the opposite. You will get the opposite result of what you want, and you will be very frustrated with life. You'll be the one that's negative. You'll be the one that's always complaining or talking about what you're unhappy about. Focus on what you love. Focus on being motivated yourself. And all you can do is be the best version of yourself. And all you can do is then be that shining example. If somebody else doesn't want it, you must release and let that go. We can't live someone else's life or make someone else do it. I love the idea. Dawn brought up the idea for Susan of playing music from when she was young in her room. She can't hear it anymore. Well, it could bring in a positive vibration even if she can't hear it, because music carries a vibration that isn't necessarily heard with our ears. We do have the hearing part. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. So, we can't change other people, you guys. We want to. We want our children to be a certain way and follow a certain life path and journey and track. We want our spouses to be the same way. But when we surrender and accept them for who they are, even if we don't like it, we release the energy of control and need, and then we can relax and focus on ourselves. Focus on you. Focusing on you doesn't mean that you dismiss everyone else. You push everyone else aside. Maxine writes that she's tired of, I'm tired and energy is low. One of the things you want to do then, Maxine, is if you've already worked with the doctor and they're not noticing that anything's off with your hormones or anything else, then you do want to try up the equation with what you eat. I'm always shocked that people tell me they eat really well, and I've had some of them, and then I'll go into someone's home and I'll be like, are you eating this that's in your refrigerator? Are you drinking this that's in your refrigerator? And they'll be like, yes. And I'm amazed that people don't realize that having a soda is harmful. It pulls your energy lower. It gives you an immediate shock to the system, which can feel like energy, but it's not. I'm shocked at that people think that some processed foods, or even like eating whole wheat bread, is good for them. It's not. You really want to take stock of those things that you can change in your life. And a lot of times food is zapping people's energy. And at different times in our life, different foods, people will tell me, but I've been eating this kind of bread for 30 years and I've always been fine. And your body's changing as you get older. We go through different stages in our lives and it changes, so it needs to change. So we want to reevaluate what you're eating. If you're exercising and you're eating really well and you know those things to be true, then you want to look at some other things that are zapping your energy. It may be time to take a class and learn about spiritual practices, energy that can boost your levels of energy. So putting that out there, that a lot of people don't realize that they're actually not eating healthy when they think that they are. So that's an interesting part. Okay. I do see myself trying to change him and then turning things negative. Oh, Michelle, there you go. This is something new to try. Don't expect an overnight change or even something to change in the next several months with him, but release it. Don't try to motivate him. Don't try to get him to see more sides of things. Surrender and release him and do work on yourself. Okay. I'm going to remind you guys about a few things I have going on, and I hope to see you all there with me. June 2nd in San Juan Bautista. Go to my website. You can come to the class, and it's a fundraiser. I don't make any money from that. And the gallery, don't make any money from that. It's a fundraiser for the hotel there in San Juan Bautista. And if you guys have a fundraiser that you want to get me involved in, I'm looking for some right now. I'm looking for ways to give back. So hit me up if you want to if you're needing a fundraiser or you have an organization that wants some support. What else? June 2nd, I have in the afternoon the class for my cards that I created, and then I have the gallery. August 4th is the class that I'm teaching here in Santa Clara. So for some people, San Juan Bautista is too far to go to. Those things can all be registered. But what I really want to see is people come and experience a gallery. So it's a 16-person gallery in my home on July the 12th in the evening. So sign up for that if you haven't yet. Oh, also my level 1 class. I started teaching this in 2016 in September, and the first time I taught it was in St. Louis, Missouri. So if you haven't taken that level 1 here with me, then you have not taken the class. Some people are, but I've done your beginning class, or I took a class 4 years ago. You haven't experienced this class. There's new things involved in that. The level 1, even if you are having a spiritual practice, I'm going to suggest that you consider taking that. It's also in July. And then the level 2, and you can only get into the level 2 if you've taken my level 1 or my beginning classes. And I will make some exceptions for people who want to take the level 2. But the level 2, I'm only going to have 12 seats available for level 2. And that's going to be September. It's 3 days. September 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. It's not registration open yet, but it's coming soon. All right, if you've got questions for me, stay tuned because I'm going to do that big unboxing and everything else when my cards get here, and I'm going to give people readings with those cards live on Facebook. So stay tuned for that. I don't know the exact date, but I will be sharing that not too long from now. All right, everybody, thank you so much. If there's any more questions, I'm happy to stay here and answer. But I have covered about stress and energetic responsibility here on my end, but I'm happy to answer anything else. And if not, thank you all. And hopefully you're going to have a wonderful week. Be mindful of your energy. Do kindnesses for others. And know where you're at in your life. Everyday stress, great time to get a reading. Bigger stress, great time to get a reading. Trauma, don't do it. Give yourself time to heal. People often want a reading right away when they go through a trauma. Not a good time. All right. Thank you guys for coming. Mwah. All my love. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your weekend. I have a group reading that I'm doing today. So if you're coming to the group reading, I'm super excited to see you, and I'm already lit on fire with your loved ones. So I'll see you then and there. Alrighty. There is a video, Vanessa, on my level 1 class on my YouTube channel. Go to Leanne Thomas on YouTube and you can find the video on my level 1 class. It's for anyone and everyone. It teaches all about how to have spiritual practices. It teaches about energy, chakras, aura, gets people practicing, learning to use different tools. It's just such a fun time. Alrighty. Also, feel free to hit me up and I can give people some more private information on classes if you want that. Send me an email through my website, angelichope.com. But until then, I'll see you hopefully next Sunday. And we'll figure out what the topic needs to be for that. So give me some ideas on what I should share with you or what you want to know. I've got a few good ideas, but I'm always open for more. All right, guys, take care. Have a wonderful week and be blessed. Bye-bye.